Lastly, I want Otiende Amollo to actually pick up this so that we can actually comment on it and then move on to other discussions as well. Unless Aaron Cheruiyot, I saw you straining at the least to say something.
No.
Thank you.
Actually, Jakoyo said what I wanted
All
to
right,
say.
thank you. Thank you very much. If we may just have this editorial cartoon by Stano in the People Daily today. This is Aisha Jumwa. Kiuno iko na kazi yake. I am still shaking. And I'm telling you, she's still shaking because the latest development is that the political parties tribunal has barred ODM, political parties registrar, from effecting order to expel Jumwa in Murkomen case, right? We can talk about this just briefly. This is Otiende Amollo.
Well, thank you. I think it's an interesting cartoon. The first unfortunate bit is that my colleague and friend Aisha Jumwa, in explaining her political choices, chose an analogy that was very unfortunate, the analogy of the waist. And in any language, the analogy of the waist usually has very bad connotations.
What are the connotations?
This is national TV. I will leave it to...
This is a family show.
Where I come from, there's the kanungo eteko thing, which really means, you know, that's where the power of some of those matters lie. I think it's an unfortunate analogy, and it's the analogy that the cartoonist has picked. I think we should always restrain ourselves from using certain analogies. But two, yes, Aisha Jumwa was expelled from the ODM, and I've not seen the order from the Political Parties Tribunal, but what I know is that the Political Parties Tribunal cannot reverse the order of expulsion. It can try to do what it says they've tried to do to stop the registrar from effecting this and that, but they cannot. I actually believe, and we are going to look into that, is that I do not believe that the Political Parties Tribunal has that jurisdiction. Under Article 105 of the Constitution, that jurisdiction appears to be reserved for the High Court, but that will be looked at. Thirdly, I think that, and many people have said many things about this, and I think even Boni Khalwale spoke to this, a distinction must be made between a political party making a conscious decision to go one way and an individual member making a belligerent decision to go another way. A political party is allowed to decide, as now the ODM has decided as a political party, to cooperate with Jubilee. That does not mean that on any one matter, as Otiende Amollo, except to the extent of expressing freedom of thought within Parliament, parliamentary debate, which is also reserved, it does not mean that I can make any decision right now that I want to follow Boni Khalwale to the corner that he has recently gone to. That would not be so. And there must be a distinction, therefore. It is especially serious when that particular member is unapologetic. And I think we've all followed, the utterances of our colleague Aisha Jumwa in terms of being unapologetic. That is what saved our other colleague, Honorable Dori, because he apologetically wrote a long letter explaining himself away and, explaining, how he may have been misled. I don't know whether he had met Boni at some point, probably. And then, he was willing to come back. So I think that this...
you need to be careful.
Yeah. I just said I don't know. But I suspect they may have. And I have reason to believe that they may have. But the proper thing is that, he repented his ways. And so we are now reconsidering whether he is apt for forgiveness or not. So that is what I can say about, about this particular issue. But it is important to know that political party discipline has been escalated to a constitutional level. Article 103 of the Constitution is clear. The Political Parties Act is clear on that.
Thank you.
The Constitution of ODM and all other parties are equally clear on that.
With a review...
I think just quickly, Debarl, in view of the fact, one, it's likely that we'll be having a constitutional amendment if that gets to happen. And also the law is reviewable at parliamentary level, that's the act itself. I believe if there's one area that we need to look at during this referendum, if it comes, and in Parliament, it is the sway that we allow political parties to have on the feet after the election of a member of parliament. Because what you'd be asking yourself is, what role does a political party critically play in the election of an individual at their constituency or county? I mean, the only thing they do is give you a paper. And then after that, you're on your own. And you go and spend your resources, build your time, talk to your people. They agree with you. You spend all your time. Either you deliver or you don't deliver. But after that, the political party can engineer those machinations to send you home. I mean, and I believe that's one thing that we seriously have to be looking at as lawmakers.
And this will pique the interest of Boni Khalwale, because he's actually teetering on the edge of being ousted from Ford Kenya, isn't it?
You know, that does not worry me. I have been in this journey for long, and I know that political parties only have a sway in the case of weak candidates. But in the case of a strong candidate like Aisha Jumwa, it is ODM that needs her. Because during the nominations in Malindi, she first had two current opponents, Charo and Motego, who are my friends. Mutengo, I have nothing against them. Charo got 14,000 votes, and Motego got 6,000 votes. 14 plus 6 is equal to 20,000. And in that same election, Aisha got 28,000. So if Jubilee, for example, had used Jumwa, probably the outcome of the election in that constituency would have been different. I have tried it in Kakamega. I mean, I've used it in Kakamega successfully. I've used it in Kolomani severally successfully, and I know that it's only this party nonsense is for weak candidates.
Then why doesn't she go for it?
Now, and let me tell you why I think we should listen to Kenyans. Why do you think that at 2017, let us listen to Kenyans, such a high number of people, including governors, were elected as independent? People are now saying we do not want political party dictatorship. My brother here, Jakoyo, although this morning I must be very careful when I'm referring to him, he's a victim of political party dictatorship.
It's true.
And he saw it.
Thank you.
So, but just in conclusion, my brother, so because this thing keeps on coming every election cycle, members of parliament should do us a favor and review. There is need for us to repeal that article in the Constitution. Why? I remember in the last parliament, I was at war. I went up to the courts with the UDF when Mudavadi wanted me out of parliament just because I had not agreed with him. I remember Sonko and Ephraim Maina were taken to court because Sonko was not agreeing with NAC. Remember? Sonko had been elected on NAC Kenya, but had not agreed with NAC Kenya. So this thing is archaic. It should be removed. It is not serving any useful purpose. It is not greater than the freedom, the right, the freedom of choice, the freedom of association. Political parties should not decide who I associate with. I should enjoy that freedom.
Lastly, let's hear from Jakoyo briefly.
The fact that the Constitution says in its first article that the power resides in the hands of the people. Not in political parties.
Right.
So when people elect you and give you that power, the political party should not come and take it away. Yeah.
But also, Wamatangi, I was going to, if you didn't talk, I was going to say you have spoken sense on this issue, even Boni. But I'm saying that same constitution also says Kenya shall be a multi-party state. What we need to do, a democracy, multi-party democracy, which means if you choose to be a member of ODM, so to speak, you must play by the rules there. Except the constitution does not allow the rule maker or the rule holder to take away your rights.
Thank you.
And that is what has happened. But I wanted to say, just 1 minute, Debarl. You know, in this Aisha thing, I think the political party was probably right to take disciplinary action. I just disagree that you can purport to expel Aisha and leave Dori and the crime was the same, and I do not know which part of our laws requires people to write letters of apology so that you are exonerated. You know, we are playing bad politics. It looks very bad. I sat in what you call Central Management Committee of ODM. When ODM tried to expel Obado, the current governor of Migori, when they tried to expel Ranguma, when they tried to expel Ongo, who was the majority leader of Kisumu, and the whip called, the deputy called Olum. Expulsion. And I sat where the report was, and I told them it can't be. You know, look at the whole traditional configuration of our politics. If you expel somebody, like they are attempting to do with MCAs in Homa Bay today, if you expel them, where do you want them to go? You are taking away their right to belong to a political party. Because in Homa Bay, the only political party, if you so wish, is to be in its ODM. Another mechanism which is not high-handed should be what is civilized.
Thank you.
And I think I want to send Otiende.
Thank you.
To know that what happened to us, take it there, that it will happen to you. And I can tell you, you may be on the chopping board. Yeah. Tell me hiyo kitu bana.
And you know,
we were just actually passing on this.
a small one.
No, Senator Cheruiyot, not you. Boni Khalwale, Senator Cheruiyot, just a moment. Senator Cheruiyot.
You know, some salient truths are too strong to be served in the morning, like what Jakoyo is having. But I really empathize with my good friend, Honorable Otiende. You know, Otiende is a good man, and he's a good friend of mine. We play football together. We're just good buddies. But sometimes when a man is in a difficult situation, you have to understand him. On this particular...
It produces the constitution.
On this particular situation, you can see his difficulty. And you know, Otiende, people have always argued what the D in ODM stands for. And clearly, over the years, people have come to realize that it is not actually democracy. It stands for dictatorship, that D in ODM. Because you cannot tell me that in this day and age, when last week in Parliament, women were doing whatever they can to try and get more women included into leadership, that a party of the size and standing of ODM can be expelling women legislators elected in constituencies, which is one of the biggest struggles of this point in time. Therefore, it's really unfortunate what is happening. And what Jakoyo has observed is unfortunately true, that if we allow political parties to get to sink to this level of lowness, then it will be unfortunate, because leaders will not even be given the latitude to exercise their duly given functions constitutionally. Look at what is happening to the MCAs in Homa Bay, just on count of holding the governor to account. And because the governor, the speaker to account, just because the speaker is close to the powers that be in ODM, ODM now wants to expel those MCAs from Homa Bay.
Briefly.
It's no, let me finish, Debarl. You give them, you give them. Allow me the opportunity to speak sense into ODM, because I am a founder member of ODM.
You can't be a founder member. You were too. I voted. You were not.
I voted in
Founder member simply not.
I voted in 2007 for ODM. The first time I ever voted. So it's a party I really like. And you know, just final thing to my good friend Otiende. Otiende, you are not the first one to be in the situation where you're in. Before you, there were very brilliant young leaders from your region. I remember the case of the gentleman from Ndiwa. No. Neto, yes. Agostino Neto. Very brilliant young legislators like you, who will speak and you respect ODM for whatever it is. Akina Silvana Sosele. But where are they today? Because they dared speak the truth to power. Finally. So don't be misled by Jakoyo. Just continue with your line of loyalty. Otherwise you run the risk.
Okay. All right. Finally, Boni Khalwale on this.
You know, I just no. I haven't.
Since he spoke.
It started with Boni.
It started with Boni. All right. Please, for all fairness, then we'll come to you briefly. No, you're interjecting actually.
I need to.
We'll come to you.
And it is very simple. Now, first of all, I agree with my colleagues in terms of the importance of the devolution conference. Let's just not lose that trajectory. Okay. You know, I think maybe in the next show, Debarl, what we should do, we should have a session where we discuss this idea of devolving health. Because since health was devolved, and it's not devolved in the Constitution, it was devolved by agreement, and that is where we should start. If you look at the Constitution, you will know that at the first meeting with at the first summit meeting with the governors, the president agreed to devolve the entire health. The Constitution does not devolve health in its entirety. But what has happened is that since health was devolved, it has not known peace. For some reason, there's always a quarrel in terms of the jurisdiction, how the counties treat doctors, the nurses, and there's a whole lot of things. And I agree that there are three things that we need to look at very carefully. We need to look at the question of employment. How do we employ health workers? We need to look at the differential treatment. There are some counties that treat doctors and nurses better than others. We need to look at the question of pay, because there's been a ping pong. When it comes to pay, the national government signs the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement. Then after saying, they say we cannot honor it because health is devolved, it's for the counties. Then the counties say the SRC has not approved. So the health workers are a ping pong in between. So we should have that discussion. But let me come back to the instant discussion. In the instant discussion, I think it was Boni and Cheruiyot who are talking about the case of Dori, that there is no such thing as giving an apology and then you are forgiven. The truth is, in law and even under the constitutions, there's such a thing as making amends. When you find that you have gone wayward, you are always allowed the liberty to retrace your steps by making amends. And in making amends, it includes an apology, and that is provided for in law. It includes going back, and owning up to your mistakes and righting your way. So making amends is always allowed. The distinction between Honorable Dori and Honorable Jumwa is that Honorable Dori has continued chest thumping. Honorable Jumwa. But at least Honorable Dori has retracted. And that is a fundamental difference. But the last point, if Boni, in his newfound position in Jubilee, the other wing of Jubilee, thinks that Honorable Jumwa is so strong, and if my brother Senator Cheruiyot thinks ODM is so unfair to Jumwa, then what is the problem? Let them allow her to be expelled, let there be by-elections, and let them support her if they really think that she's that strong. That is the remedy.
All right, thank you. Boni, finally on you. Very briefly. Yes.
I want to use this opportunity to appeal for a conversation in Luo Nyanza. The young people should ask themselves, for how long are they going to be held hostage by senior politicians who have gone beyond their sell-by date? I remember a very ugly incident, Mheshimiwa Otiende, where Assistant Minister Peter Odoyo, Peter Odoyo,
Yes.
after he won a nomination, the certificate was there, and it was being given to somebody else, and Odoyo was shown on TV running better than Usain Bolt.
But the story was different.
Yes. to get that certificate, he didn't get it. Then, on a serious note, my brother, then I remember in 2007, a young politician, a son of Lowland, called Steve Mwanga, in a nomination, he was number 1, Bishop Ondiek was number 2, Orengo was number 3, and the certificate was given to Orengo. 4, there is a young man called David Ojieng, immensely popular. He even defeated ODM in 2017. The party leader of ODM goes to his constituency and tells the people, don't let me down. I don't want this leader of yours because he's not on our party. This conversation should take place in your community. You can't allow yourselves to be held hostage. Finally, Otiende, really, what crime has Jumwa committed? Jumwa responded to the goodwill that was created on 9th of March, the goodwill of handshake. Raila shook hands with the party leader of Jubilee, and it was very exciting. Jumwa went on and Dori and shook hands with the deputy president. So if people must be expelled for shaking hands, thank you, you have expelled Jumwa, do also expel Raila.
Right, that is the same question you should ask yourself. What have you done in Ford, Kenya?
In Fort Kenya, we are doing
That's
very well.
the same question
We're
you're
doing
asking.
very well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fort Kenya is the victim. You cannot ask me that question.
Yes, that's
Essentially-
what,
essentially
what have you
that's
done that is you'll actually be the victim? That is the question.
But Boni, I thank you. You can't get away with this one. Because the other day, MPs from Wamatangi constituency, the larger Mount Kenya region, came firing that Ruto is the next president. Why are they not talking in public again? Why is the number diminishing? It's because somebody is telling them what you are saying you must stop saying. In fact, I've seen them. I've seen Moses Kuria has now taken he's looking for an exit. Now he says he wants to be president himself. Now he's not Tim Tangatanga. Can I just finish? Can I just finish? But I wanted to say this because I think one of the things we must change in this country, as Boni has said, we must accept that we will live with political dictatorship. We have already created a position where if somebody wants to be independent, they can run as an independent. I was an independent candidate after the fiasco in ODM. But the thing is, put that thing in law. Give these people powers in law so that somebody can stand and meet them where the people and the arbiter is. Don't let me be a candidate knowing very well you want me out. That, to me, I think is a crime. And my friend, Otiende Amollo, you know, there's no part of ODM rules, and I'm telling you as somebody who made and ratified them, that says if you mess up and apologize in writing, those are more day things. You don't go kneeling down to your political party. ODM is such a big outfit that fights for people's rights that cannot turn around and fight two MPs who are helpless. That to me, I think fairness is just fairness. You must use your rules the way they are because you accept your rules.
You know, Jakoyo, that's exactly what I wanted first to say to
I'll
Otiende
explain,
Amollo. Because
in
fact, you should have been given that opportunity to explain, and I hope you get it to explain well. Because you used very scaring words, if I can repeat what Jakoyo said. You know, you said that lady has gone wayward. You know, and you're saying that she has continued chest thumping.
Yes.
And the other one now has retracted and
yes.
mollified.
That is not yours.
I didn't see a mollified.
That molly is yours.
I didn't see
Because my fear, and exactly what you said, Jakoyo, with the wording that and tone used by Otiende Amollo, you know, you're suggesting that in that world of ODM or in that kind of political dictatorship, if you like, for what you've described it as, that people should be tamed, you know, and caged and regimented, and that they should toe the line. I think it is very risky for you to propose that kind of concept and seem to hail it. We have no problem with ODM making its decision, but you know, from a constitutional lawyer like yourself, when you seem now to be again leaning towards the days when people are being whipped on the streets by KANU for speaking out or for whatever, then that becomes dangerous. You know, for whatever sins that lady has committed against ODM, but that kind of atmosphere, if you introduce it into the politics of ODM, and the person to lead in front is Otiende Amollo with your credentials, then it will be a very dangerous time. Now, lastly,
But Wamatangi, isn't that atmosphere that Otiende Amollo was asking you about also the Jubilee party?
I was going now to answer Jakoyo, because that's what Jakoyo was saying.
No,
He's avoiding my question.
I will ask him when I speak.
Yeah, it is Jakoyo who asked, you know, and I wanted to advise Jakoyo. You know, Jakoyo is of late, but I understand, you know, now you have a lot of time. Earlier on when you are the whip, you had to do a lot of things. So I believe you're now trying to study a lot of political landscapes in the country. But you've not learned the Central Kenya, Mount Kenya region well, and your gauge, whatever, is it what do you call that gauge that measures noise? Because you're saying that there's less noise now. I'll be telling you.
Is it audiometer?
You know, people speak at will, and they speak on issues and subjects that they choose to speak to. And you know, what probably you've been expecting to hear is not what you've heard. What you should be able to look for and find out is what is in the people's minds, and what is in their hearts, and what are their intentions. You get what I mean? And that should now be where you take your argument. But whoever has said in that domain of either ODM or your side, but I know you left ODM, that there's anyone saying to the politicians of Mount Kenya don't speak. I want to tell you, as a matter of fact, that no one has told anybody do not speak at all.
Thank you.
Could
you just leave it at that?
You have not been giving me when I interject. Interjection is also relevant.
It's good, but of course
the issue raised by Midiwo
We'll give it time,
on why people have suddenly gone quiet. I think if I was where Midiwo is, I would be more worried when Mount Kenya goes quiet. We remember during the Moi times, Moi created Kamoto. He created the Central Kenya professionals and what have you. They were very loud, and Mount Kenya retreated. And every time Moi went to election, he was losing. I remember Mwai Kibaki, when he attempted to make Musalia president, Mount Kenya went quiet and retreated. Musalia got nothing, despite being pushed by the Mwai Kibaki. Now that you are saying Mount Kenya has gone quiet, you will be shocked at the return that Ruto will bring in Mount Kenya. I'm sure, I'm telling you. And you know,
let me answer my 4 colleagues. Because they have
how can you answer me before I conclude?
I have not spoken since you advised me. And
you used to have a very good art of listening.
No, I need Khalwale.
He's a man that has
Khalwale.
Khalwale.
You remember you spoke, even you advised me about the Luos and all that,
yes,
and you're speaking for a second time and you don't want me to speak. Seriously? Is this what Team Tangatanga does to you? Now, let's make this very clear. My 4 colleagues,
For the interest of time. Just
my
let
4
him
colleagues
finish.
have sought to advise me on certain ways. And I think they've been so carried away that Senator Cheruiyot even calls himself a founding member of ODM. And I am sure he could not be, because I was there and Jakoyo was there. Now, first of all, let us start with Khalwale. Dr. Khalwale, on what pedestal would you stand to advise Luos on what to do? I rather thought you'd take that advice, because in recent times, until you shifted, your clarion call was Luya unity, and you came to this show more than 8 times, explaining away that the reason you are going here and there was because of Luya unity, until you abandoned that call and joined William Ruto's team, which is your political right. But you are in no position to advise the Luos what to do, because if you had such good advice, then you take that advice home first. Secondly, on Jumwa, I would understand why you are considerably irritated, because you are in exactly that position, except that in your case, your party has not found it necessary to move, perhaps because you are not holding a political position right now, because therefore the consequences are not as severe. But in the case of Aisha Jumwa, she's serving as a member of parliament. So the consequences of that move are fundamental. But more importantly, I do not understand you. When you and Senator Cheruiyot say that Aisha Jumwa is so popular, she will win with a landslide, and I'm not doubting that. I am not contradicting you on that. My only question is, if that is the case, then why not allow the move by ODM to succeed? Let there be a by-election so that she can win with a landslide. Why contest it? Why call names to a party that you believe is undemocratic? So let her then move to your own wing that is highly democratic. You know, let's explain this. The issue must be in context. Hold on, Debarl. It is very important to understand why party discipline is in the Constitution and must remain, Senator Wamatangi. In our configuration of the Constitution, you have a right to vie as an independent, as my brother Jakoyo did. So that is a choice. And you have a right to choose a political party. That is also a choice. But if you choose the political party and you go to the ballot on that party, there is no telling and there is no scientific way of ascertaining that if you got 100,000 votes, only 10,000 was on account of the party and 90,000 were your own. So it means your own persona and the party are infused. When therefore you are elected, by joining that political party, you cede a certain percentage of your independent thought. Because there are people who will have elected you because of that party. You can't therefore go and say, now that I'm elected, I am my own man or woman, to hell with the party. Because if that is the case, then test the strength of your own persona, resign from that party, and go back for by-election. So the idea of free political speech cannot be exaggerated. But that is different from what's in Article 117, the freedom of speech and debate in Parliament. That is sacrosanct, and I'm one who has always defended it. You cannot go to Parliament and start stifling debate by members of Parliament on account of the party. Lastly, the National Governing Council. Under the ODM Constitution, before you expel anyone, it must escalate from the disciplinary committee to the national, to NEC, and then to the National Governing Council. At the National Governing Council, they are allowed to ratify or reject the recommendation. There is no parameter of what instructs that decision.
Thank you.
If therefore the apology or retraction persuades members that Honorable Dori can be salvaged, it is perfectly lawful. And that is what happened.
Okay, we leave it at that. We won't have time actually to conclude this show. We need to actually conclude this show, please.
Yes.
And I've lost my sequence.
Otiende, you are alone.
No, just a moment. I think Boni Khalwale, you've spoken so much this morning. Yeah, you are the one who's disrupting. I need to know to follow. Was it Senator Cheruiyot?
Yes.
Or
You got it.
It was my time.
It is Jakoyo's time.
And what
It's my turn.
briefly, Jakoyo, we're winding up, so be very brief.
No, Otiende can't get away with so much. You know, Otiende, the more I listen to you, the more I remember Kamodho and Karioki Chotara, Nasir. I listen to you. You know, stop that. You know, I agree with you. You know, political parties are funded, they are public institutions. Yes. Political parties are not anybody's underbed property.
Yeah.
They are not, and we must fight. I will fight to that tooth and nail. Because and I'm not alone, because somebody must speak. When you say you can run as an independent, Wamatangi said here that when you go there, you use your own resources and energy, all and sundry. The way we are doing electioneering destroys families. But why take me to go look for a nomination in Siaya and go to Parkland Club over alcohol and take my certificate after I win? Those are repugnant things. They don't belong. They don't belong to the 21st century. The contradiction is too much.
Thank you. We need to wind up now.
Yeah, so that Dori and Aisha, when they are accused of the same crime, there's no way that a long letter can salvage one, and one you throw to the dogs. It's not true.
Thank you.
Yeah, you people are mismanaging us.
Right, let's be winding up, please. 30 seconds, Aaron Cheruiyot.
30 seconds. Yesterday, there was a very interesting development, Debarl. DPP, for the very first time, issued a presser via communication sent through a letter to newsrooms, distancing himself and his office from the various allegations that are being made in our newspapers. You know, I have never seen a time that our media has sunk as low as they have currently during this.
But why are you using this time when we are actually closing? We're just about to close the show.
Yes.
Before you also give a rejoin and we hear from everyone.
Because DPP made the right decision by clarifying that that story in the Standard was fake, and at no time did he speak to that reporter.
There is a letter.
I want to challenge DCI Kinoti that there is nobody who is asking for special protection or any special favor from you. Just do your job and do it correctly, devoid of any political interest. Unfortunately, up to this point, you haven't passed that particular test.
All right, thank you. But the Standard actually has come up with a rejoinder to that particular letter. There is a story inside the Standard today, right? Okay.
You didn't give us the Standard.
Right. No, there is a Standard. All right, let's get your closing remarks.
We can discuss it next week.
Well,
It's a big thing.
I think
I've shelved this particular discussion about the dam for next
no
week
closing
because
remarks.
I know we won't do justice to it,
Debarl,
and
no
it's still
closing
developing.
remarks.
Yeah, your closing remarks.
Was it mine or his?
It's mine.
Anyone now? I think we've lost the track. You can continue. 30 seconds.
He closes fast.
Close fast. Okay, Boni Khalwale, please close.
I wanted to request with a lot of respect my brother Otiende, who is a lawyer, that if you must use the law to push your case on this panel, then don't leave other relevant laws that speak to the same subject. If ODM is so keen to have a by-election in Malindi, then you should also remember that the same laws provide that the people with the final say on that is the people through something called recall. Why don't you allow the people themselves to exercise recall if they are not satisfied with Jumwa? Why are you interfering with the affairs of Malindi when none of you is a voter in Malindi?
Right,
And let me tell you, let me tell you.
30 seconds are done.
Yeah.
30 seconds are done.
Let me tell you, at the National Delegates Conference, at the Parklands Club where the certificates and decisions were being made, Jumwa was not represented.
Thank you very much.
The people of Malindi were not represented in that bar talk.
Wamatangi,
I think
30 seconds.
I think Debarl, you need to give us a day when we come here and have a good discussion on the role and the value per se that political parties contribute to political leadership in this country, including the mentoring of politicians and people holding political office for that matter, so that then we can be able to juxtapose that with then what powers should we allow in moving forward into political parties and the sway they have over politicians, because then slowly we can abuse our democracy and slide back into a dictatorship. But then lastly, I was just making that as a comment, but lastly then, just to remind our viewers, sometimes we have this very varied political discussion, such that it is likely that those who follow us and view our program, especially when it is as heated as it is on a day like today, might forget to remember that our main interest is to ensure that we inform our viewers correctly on where and why we come here. It's to have a better country. It's to have the views of all of us not only taken on board, but to advance the cause of a better nation.
Right, thank you.
And I believe that's pretty.
Right, all right. Director Diana, just give me some few seconds to just read some of our tweets here that we do have. Dr. Jen Omwenga, she says that we demand justice for Honorable Aisha Jumwa. Handshake should be democratic and not coercing others. Let's hope her seat will not go to the person we're thinking about. I don't know which person is that. And she says also handshake has no meaning if Honorable Aisha Jumwa is being sacrificed of her for having a handshake with others. Also, we have Gamaliel Namale saying, I don't agree. Health was in the national government before devolution, and it was not better. If anything, it's much better. This speaking on devolution conference that we commented on. Also, equipped for greatness, devolution has brought chaos in the health sector. Nurses and doctors are suffering under counties. No merit-based promotions, no transfers. Further studies is difficult. Public health care is worse off. Only equipment and surveys are the focus. Tenders. And we have also Dream Market saying, unfortunately, the annual conference is a simple gubernatorial and MCA's tourism affair. This forum can be more productive if meaningful planning, verifiable agenda, and report cards are produced. Also, we have Samuel Oruto saying, Kenya is one country where suspects of corruption can dare threaten the government. Why they are being investigated for corruption, as if they need to be requested for permission to do so. To many, I think corruption has become usual activity in life, and we have Merciful Heart saying, Midiwo, I think you have to put your statement clear. It is individuals who loot the money, not community or cooperatives. So they are the ones that should be targeted. And there are of them, so many of them, the tweets are still coming through. Thank you for your participation. And I want to thank our panelists as well this morning. that particular debate on the dams, we shelve it for next week. I think we'll do justice this morning for it. So we'll actually delve deeper in it as that story is still developing. Thank you for your valued company. My name is Debarl Inea.